So we'll start with Mira. Just tell us a little bit about your background and your story.
Hi everyone. Thanks. Hi. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm actually super excited because I actually grew up in Cerritos. So my whole childhood, my whole youth, growing pains, everything was here. I was hanging out at, the Cerritos Mall. It's really nice now. It's a lot nicer than what it used to be. But everywhere from Cerritos College. I mean, I've done everything here. So I'm really happy to be here. And you guys are actually I'm thrilled that you guys are here at Fremont College because it's actually an inspiration to me. Growing up, before I started ShoeDazzle and starting my career, I was studying to be an educator, and my main inspiration was my father. He was a teacher, and growing up, it's hard to be motivated, but they kept telling me, you know what, Mira, the one thing that we really just want from you, and the only thing that we expect from you is really to go to college. And so it wasn't an easy path because I wasn't the most motivated student. And so I went to Cerritos College, and then I went to another university in La Mirada. It's a smaller school, but I ended up getting my degree, and I went into education, and so I became a teacher. We started ShoeDazzle actually in our bedroom. I was pregnant. I have 2 children, Davis and Madison, 5 and 3, and I was pregnant in our bedroom. And I went and bought some shoes, and I loved shoes. I always loved shoes. And he saw the price tag on the shoes, and he was like, Mira, you have so many shoes. Why are you buying another pair? Why don't you And so I said, you know what, this is what girls love to do. They love shoes. And so he was like, well, why don't you just go to a DSW or, one of those shoe places where, they're a lot more affordable. And I said, well, it's not the same feeling. It's not the same feeling of, going to a store where you feel, really special. And I remember growing up, I had that experience. We didn't grow up with a lot of money, and so everywhere I went, from the time I was really young, I loved, shopping and shoes. And so I know the feeling, and that feeling was, it was constantly going through different boxes, finding, the right style that I liked. And so I thought, why don't we create something where women will feel pampered? And so we transferred that feeling online.
Karina, how did you get started in social media? That is, and you've been in it for several years.
Yeah, I've been working in social media for almost
stage.
10 years, yeah. I've been working in social media since before it was called social media. Didn't know I was working in the space. So I just kind of stumbled upon it, and I started out getting an economics degree at University of Michigan. I'm from the Detroit area, and I started out before that in the engineering college, and I did not like engineering, and I was struggling to figure out what did I like. And I found economics, I loved that, and then after getting that degree, I ended up in technology. So, depending on where you end up in school, I think it's just really important to do something that you love. And so I was in technology in a very male-dominated space. I was often the only woman in the room, the only woman at the meeting, and it was really challenging at times because people don't always take you seriously. But then just working in the tech space, I was a programmer, and then I was working on websites, and then working on social networking websites before they were even called social networking sites. And that was really where I found my passion and my expertise. And so now I have my own business that I've had for several years now, and we focus just on social media, and I love it. I'm passionate about it, and I feel like I've found a place where I'm really good at what I do, and I look forward to it every day.
So Tony, you started your company because you wanted a makeup that fits you and your friends.
Right. So thank you for having us here, guys. And before I even start, I have to say, oh my gosh. So I have heard that you guys all have jobs and come here from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. every night to go through this course. And I'm just like so awed how dedicated you are. And I just really want to congratulate you guys first. And thank you for. No, seriously, give yourself an applause. I mean, I that's just such an amazing commitment, and I don't think I could even commit that much work, and I'm just so happy for all of you guys. So congratulations. My name is Tony Ko, and I started a cosmetic company called NYX Cosmetics in 1999. I was a young 20-something entrepreneur. I'm not going to give you my age, but it was 15 years ago. And I have my little note right here. So I really didn't have much, but I had one thing I had a big dream to be a successful person, and I had a big love for makeup. So when you marry the two, so you have, whatever you do, you have to love what you do, number one, and then you have to dream really big. And when I say dream big, like some people have told you, go big or go home, right? So you have to, so if you want to one day be a manager, don't stop there. Dream that you're going to be a VP one day. And if you want to be a VP one day, don't stop there. Dream you're going to be a CEO one day. And if you want to be a CEO, don't stop there. You have to dream that you're going to be an owner of a Fortune 500 company one day. And you know what? With hard work, luck, and everything together, you will get there at one point, and if not, at least you end up halfway there. And you probably have accomplished a lot more than just stopping at like the manager or VP at a company. So I had no prior experience in running a company, and I had no money, I had no connection, but just a big dream. And I think having a big dream is the most imperative when you're starting a company. And I know you guys are students here, and some of you may go on to become a successful entrepreneur, and some of you may go on to become a successful executive at a company. And every direction in life, there's ups and downs. So if you become an entrepreneur, you may have a greater financial reward at the end, but you have to know that it comes with a lot of headache, and it comes with a lot of stress, and it comes with a great risk. And if you go into becoming an executive at a company, maybe your financial reward is not going to be as great, but what you're going to get is you get a great security, right? So you have to figure out what your personality is, how much risk that you're willing to take. And once you figure that out, then both options are fantastic. Because just think about, you are in school paying money to learn something, right? But when you're at a job, they pay you to learn something. So when somebody tells you or asks you to do something that's not within your job description, don't say, that's not my job, I'm not gonna do it. And that same thing as being a student as well, right? Because every new opportunity is an opportunity for you. So you have to make yourself say, thank you for the opportunity, I'll do it. And you have to jump into it and grab onto that opportunity, because doing something new will teach you something every day, right? So I'm not like the best speaker in the world, and I actually don't like it. And
you're doing great.
Thank you, I really appreciate that. But the reason, when Sabrina invited me, the reason that I've accepted is because I have decided I'm going to put myself in every uncomfortable situation possible. Because when you're comfortable, you don't grow as a person. You have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation for you to grow as a person. So I am going through this right now. I'm very uncomfortable, but I'm trying to do my best and share my story with you guys. So just keep in mind, whatever you do, as long as you have a dream, and as long as you're productive at what you do, but most importantly, if you have fun and if you enjoy what you do, then it's all worth it, and you work hard, you dedicate yourself, and everything will happen naturally. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
So, you know, I know three of them really well as friends, and there's just a common thread that I see in all of you. One is a commitment. Commitment to excellence, commitment to focus, and commitment to your work, and commitment to life. And the second is attitude. You know, all of you have like such amazing attitude of, you know, how you look at life and the perspective of life. So if, you know, anyone who's interested, you can like start talking a little bit about your commitment and focus, as well as your attitude and what, you know, how that helps you in your workplace.
I mean, I'll start out and just say I think attitude is the most important thing, because throughout your life, throughout school, throughout your career, you're going to run into things that didn't work out the way you had hoped. And I try to look at everything as a positive opportunity. There might be that client that I didn't sign, but wow, we did a great job as a team pulling together that proposal, and we learned some new things about ourselves and our capabilities. Or, you know, maybe we worked a really long time advising a company that didn't sign us long term, but we, you know, got to add a new client to our roster as that we're advising them, and we just learn a lot about ourselves. So we try to find the positive in everything, and I think people want to be around you when you're positive. If you're constantly complaining about, you know, how you didn't want to get up today, or you don't like your who you're working with, or you're not happy with your job, people don't want to be around you. I think positivity really it makes you attractive, and it makes you go further in life. So I don't know if either of you ladies have more to add to that.
So when we were starting ShoeDazzle, we started really small. You know, we didn't think that we were going to grow to the size that, you know, we did. And really, what was our motivating factor were really the people that were, you know, working with us. You know, it's really about the team that we built, and as much as we were the ones leading the team, the employees were the most motivating factor for the success that, you know, we've achieved. From everyone from, you know, the warehouse to the customer service, they were always so positive, always so happy to be where they were. And I feel like that's what really encouraged us. You know, when times were hard, when it's, you know, it's hard to run a business, that was really the motivational factor for us. And, you know, they were always working so hard, and no matter what they were doing. And so I think that was really key in, you know, a lot of the success of the business.
So, you know, as Trina and Mira said, you know, attitude, you know, motivation, it is so important, and I you know, I just could not agree with them more. And, you know, when you look at me, I sold my company to L'Oreal. I mean, that's huge, right? L'Oreal just doesn't buy any company. They only buy like creme de la creme companies. So this is huge. But where I came from is, you know, I started my company when I was 26 years old, and I gave out my age. See, I was young, I'm female. As you can see, I'm minority, and I'm a first-generation immigrant, actually. I came to this country when I was 13 years old, and I spoke no English when I came here. My parents landed this country with 3 children, and they only had $2,000 to their name. And we just worked hard, and we worked our way up. But I had no connection, I had no MBA, I had no money. I literally had nothing but my bare hands. And look where I am now. See, this is the most fantastic news, because it does happen when you put everything to it. And you know, when I started my company, I was telling people, I said, you know what, I'm going to build a brand that I'm going to sell to L'Oreal one day. And people laughed at me. And of course they're going to laugh at me. I mean, how ridiculous is that? How can somebody like me succeed in this competitive space, right? But the most fantastic news is I did it. And if I can do it, then so can you. And one more that I want to add to being, you know, having the positive energy and, you know, all of that is you have to be proud of what you do, right? Because this is yours. This school, even this school, is yours. you have to be proud of going to Fremont College, and you have to tell everybody that how great your school is. And you know, at the end, you're not doing other people service, but you're doing yourself service by being proud of where you belong and what you do. And you know, and it goes down to your friends and your family, and you have to be proud of everything, and that's going to reflect later on.
If you can give our students one advice that would help them to either launch their career or moving forward, you know, whether it's a social media space or, you know, how to do the job interviews or think about their career trajectory, you know, what kind of advice would you give?
So I think what's most important is when you go to a job interview, you have to always think, Kennedy said this, or who was it? I might be quoting the wrong person. You know, they say, what can you do? What can you do? You know, don't ask your country what the country could do for you, but ask what you could do for the country, right? It's the same thing for the company. And you know, my company we had a lot of employees, and there are some where they stay, you know, where they started, and there are some that just accelerate in their career path. And all of those people have a similar personality. One, they're go-getters, and they never say no to any new challenges or new opportunities. And when a chance is given, they go and they take it. You have to be a little bit like a bulldog. You know, when you see it, you have to go grab it. And, you know, think about how you can add value to the company that you're at, or even at school you're at, because in return, that would add value to you.
And I would say, I think it's very important, like I said earlier, to find something that you really love and you're passionate about that you can finish. You know, I think it can be really hard to stick in there and, you know, complete the degree that you're going after. And I think that just having the ability to finish says a lot in the working world. And what I often will tell students of mine or people that are looking for work, check out LinkedIn. If you guys aren't on LinkedIn, it's a wonderful resource. And I often tell people, look up the profile of someone that you admire. Like you said, you want to be that CEO one day. Go look at that CEO's LinkedIn profile, see where they started and work their way up. You can find really interesting career paths of people that you admire on LinkedIn. You can find what jobs are open out there. What do you want to do with your life? You can see that people have different degrees than the work that they're doing today, just like me. And I think it's a tremendous resource for networking and just for finding opportunities and just finding your space. And it's often a great place to start brainstorming. You don't really know where to go next, you're feeling a little lost, just hop onto LinkedIn and you can find a lot of inspiration there. So if you don't have a profile set up, I would say most definitely do so. I'm on there all the time because of my work, obviously, but I definitely recommend it as a tremendous resource.
So I would say know the company that you are interested in working for, and really just be passionate about, you know, what the brand is, know the brand. And, you know, I would have to say that, you know, the people that stand out the most, it doesn't have to be a, you know, high profile executive. You know, a lot of the employees that we really remember are the ones that started with us and that stayed loyal and stayed completely positive.
So my name is Janice Kim. So my question goes out to any of you guys, but I know that the secret behind any company or organization, it starts off with an idea, but to get that idea off the ground, you need a really strong team or like a partner. And how do you go about in determining, I guess, developing that team? Because I know that trust, and like you mentioned, Mira, you mentioned loyalty is really important. Like, how do you go about really developing this team and determining who you can really trust and such? Because I think that for anything that anyone begins, it can't be done alone. So
I can start, and then you guys can just jump in. I think that's a really great question. Thank you. I think when you're launching a business, I think you need to ask the hard questions. I think a lot of times people will want to start a business with a friend or somebody that they like working with, and they get very passionate and excited and just jump right in. And I think you really need to stop to ask yourselves the questions, the hard questions, because, you know, co-founding a business with someone can be like a marriage. And, you know, you want to ask these questions before you really get involved, because you're going to hit some very, very challenging times. Like both these ladies had said, it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of determination, and you are going to hit roadblocks, and you want to know, you know, how are you going to handle them? So I think you really need to ask yourself those hard questions, and don't go into it just thinking like, oh, it's going to be so fun. You need to think about the challenges that you're going to hit and how you're going to handle them. And I don't know if you ladies want to add some more to that.
I think it's hunger. I think you have to be really hungry for what you're passionate about, and whoever you partner with and, you know, decide to team with, they have to have the same vision. They have to want the same thing and stick it till the very end. You know, for us, it was, you know, I have to say, the reason why the company, you know, achieved what it did was because the team, we brought in a smart team. We brought in the people that were capable of achieving, you know, the goal. And so, you know, and we all believed in the same thing. We all believed that, you know what, we're gonna start this and we're gonna end it together, and continue going. And those really are the people that, you know, we never forget. And yes, there are people that, you know, do leave, but, you know, it's the people that really stay with you that, you know, it's truly the key to building a business.
Other questions?
Hi, my name's Tony.
You can
I'm
ask who you are asking the question to.
Sure. Anybody can answer this. My name's Tony. I'm with iGirl Tech News. I'm actually the founder. Trina, you mentioned that 10 years ago the tech space was male-dominated. Unfortunately, it still is. Only 25% of tech jobs are held by females, and only 4.2% of VC funding goes to female founders. What do we need to do to change this?
That's a great question, thanks. I actually started out almost 20 years ago in the tech space, so I haven't seen a lot of changes. It's not gotten much better. I think that we need to see more VC firms funding female companies, female-founded companies. I think there's a lot of hesitation. It's always in the press about how men, VC funds don't want to give money to women because they don't feel confident in their abilities to lead. And I just think we need to see more success like these ladies here. I think we just need to have more funds take that chance and just really shine a light on more females that have been successful in the space. I think there are a lot of tremendous women in the technology space, but it just doesn't happen to make the story. It's not compelling. People aren't shining the light on them. And I think, you know, as fellow female entrepreneurs and fellow females in the tech space, we need to shine the light on each other as much as we can. And there are organizations that are popping up here and there, like Change the Ratio and other organizations like that. But I think it's really up to us to try to, you know, maybe shine a light on it more, and maybe we can start our own fund and fund some women-founded companies and just get the ball rolling from there. Because why not? Why rely on the alternative? But it is a challenge, and it's sad to see that it hasn't changed much in 20 years.
I have a question. My name is, I'm Brienne. Nice to meet everyone. So I just want to know, I know you guys have all been in this for a long time. So I want to know, what's one piece of advice that you got later on after you were successful that you wish you would have had starting out?
After. God, that's a hard one. I don't know. People have not been giving advice to me lately. But could I share some of the earlier advice though? Yes. So this stuck to me, and this is, I heard this when I was in my early 20s, and this person, very profound person, had told me that too many people make mistakes by picking the fruit and eating it at its first ripe, instead of saving the seed and planting more trees so you could have more fruit later. That means a lot of the young entrepreneurs, a lot of the people, they go out into the world, they start making money and they see cash coming in and they think, oh, I could go and spend this money. But you can't. You need to reinvest everything back into the business that you do. And that was a great advice that I had that I want to share.
My advice, I guess, would be when I tell people that I'm gonna start my own company, people kind of look at me crazy, like, you can't do that. And I think that comes from fear, from other people, or maybe from jealousy, and they want to do it but they can't, so they try to put you down. And I think a lot of people you're gonna run into are gonna tell you that you can't do it. You may tell them you're changing your major, or here's what you're interested in, and they'll tell you you can't do it. And I think you can. And you just need to stay committed and determined, and don't believe when people say you can't. If you believe you can, then you can do anything.
So when we were starting the shoe business, I feel like it's almost better not to know what you're getting yourself into. I didn't grow up in shoes. Neither did my husband. We didn't know anything about shoes. And just to let you know, the people that do run shoe businesses, their parents were in it. They've been it their whole life. They've been working at, their parents' businesses, and that's just the way it's done. And we had no idea what to do. We went to City of Industry and we said, well, you know what, can we just buy, a couple boxes of shoes? And they were like, well, what is your business? And you know nothing about shoes, and you don't know what you're getting yourself into. This is a tough business. But we had already started it, so we really didn't have a choice. And so we really learned as we went. It was really, we sort of defeated the impossible, because some of these companies wouldn't even open their doors. They were like, you're gonna sell, you want how many boxes of shoes? Our minimum is, like 1,000. And we're like, well, we just only need a couple boxes. But there was one company that actually gave us a chance. And they believed in the concept, and so they started selling shoes to us. But it's almost better not to really know and to just dive into it. So I think that's what was key for us.
Hi, my name's Annette. I'm actually a guest as well. My question is actually for Tony. How did you get the funding for your company?
So the funding from my company came from my mother initially. But you have to realize that, as we were immigrant into this country, my mom started a small retail business selling perfume and cosmetics. And I was 14 years old then. And I worked for my mom since I was 14 years old to 25 years old. So without getting paid, that's the key. So I call myself the byproduct of child slavery by Asian parents. And but being in a family business is really tough, and I don't know how you made a successful company working with your husband, because when I was a teenager, I basically did everything my mom told me to do. So that was okay. But as I was growing older and maturing, I had my own ideas, and I wanted to implement it into the family business. And we're getting into so much fight that at the end we decided it's better for us to stay a family, and that I was going to separate and start my own business. So I told my mom about this idea about a makeup company, and she said, okay. So she gave me a little bit of money. It wasn't a lot. She just gave me a little bit of money, and she just said one word. She said, don't worry about it. Even if you fail, it's better to do it when you're young. So I think that was the greatest. I think it was a great moment that I had with my mother. So that's where the money came from.
Hi, my name is Johanna Poveda. I work here, and I recently graduated from the multimedia program. But I have a question. Have any of you guys had a struggle that was so great that it made you question your direction? And how did you bring yourself back and found your path again? Have you gone to that severe experience in your latter life?
Yes, I have. Along the way, I ran out of money running business. And then very tough thing about running a company or working at a company. I think it's all human relationship that's the toughest thing to deal with, right? It's your coworker, and it's the people who work for you, or it's people you work for. I think it's the human relationship that's really, really tough. And a lot of the times, I honestly, there are times where I feel betrayed. And sometimes I'm sure there are people who felt betrayed by me too. But it's just part of a business. Then all I had to do is remind myself what my goal is, and you stick to your goal. That's.
Hi, I'm Allison. I actually work here as an instructor. But I want to kind of vocalize a question that I think a lot of my students have upon graduation. I see a lot of my students come through and they feel really great about the program, and then they graduate and there's this onset of fear of, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing this, and am I really prepared, and how do I survive in this really competitive field? So almost every field is competitive at this point in life because we're so oversaturated, but how do you get over the fear of feeling like I may not be as good as the next guy, or so you all seem incredibly confident and incredibly like you were born to do what you're doing, and it's kind of slightly intimidating to stand here and be like, what are we doing here? I don't know, but it feels like, how can we get that confidence? How can these students, how can people who are getting out there and trudging their way and trying to forge their path, how do they formulate some kind of inside spark where they can walk into an interview and they can walk into a situation and feel like, I may be brand new into this field, but this is who I am, and I'm going to be the one you hire? How do you make that happen?
I think that's a great question. I think that goes back to the whole attitude discussion we had earlier. And I have almost 20 years of career experience, and so that's probably why I seem confident, because I've been working really hard for many, many years, and my confidence builds as I have these successes. And of course there are failures along the way that I never talk about, especially on an interview, but there are successes along the way that build your confidence, and I think you have to start somewhere, and that spark comes from that passion. And when you're interviewing for a job or in a job that you love and that you feel passionate about, I think that spark is contagious, and you use that to build upon until you get to a point where confidence just comes naturally. So that would be my response.
Allison, thanks for asking that question, because that is my favorite subject. Fear is the best motivator in life. There's not a single person in the world who doesn't have fear. God gave us fear because fear does very positive things in your life. Fear is what makes you avoid tiger when tiger is coming at you. When the car is coming at you, you want to avoid that car. You don't want to jump off this building on the 9th floor without parachute because you have fear. Fear is not a bad thing. What you do with fear is what makes your life trajectory very, very different. Our chairman of the board, Ambassador Frank Baxter, ran one of the largest companies in the world called Jefferies. It's the largest investment banking firm in the world. He said, I always hired the very, very talented people who work very hard and who are painfully insecure and fearful, because they'll work really, really hard when they're hired. The ones who are very confident and look very confident and cocky, they're not going to work as hard. So it's okay if you feel that you're not going to make it and you feel like an imposter, because that's really one of the big ingredients for success.
Fake it till you make it, right?
So true.
I think fear is a feeling that everybody has. Actually, I have fear every day. I doubt myself every day, even now, even after 15 years of running a business and successful acquisition by L'Oreal, and after all of that, I doubt myself every day. Am I really that person? What about my future? Right now, I'm actually for the last 3 weeks, I've actually been not been able to sleep much, and I've been very moody, up and down and up and down. You know why? because I think I'm fearing for what my future is going to be, because I want to prove myself more and more and more. I don't want to be that one-hit wonder. So that will be my fear. So just like Sabrina said, it's a natural feeling, so just embrace it. And you need to look fear right in the eye, and you have to remind yourself, and you have to brainwash yourself that I am going to beat my fear and move forward.
I actually feel you guys being here and going to college and, you know, having that goal to finish school is already a huge confidence booster. I have to say, you know, finishing school is probably one of the, you know, really key things in everything, you know, just from the people that you meet and the interactions that you have. I mean, going to school is tough. You know, it may seem easy for a lot of people, but it isn't. It really isn't. Just even finishing a class, even finishing a semester, that's a huge achievement. And so I truly feel that you guys even being here and trying to finish what you started is a huge advantage, because there's a lot of people out there that don't have that advantage. And that advantage, yes, people do get jobs when they don't go to college, but having that degree, it's an extra step above. And when you excel from there, you shine. And I really commend you for even being, you know, in school, because I have to say, if I did not, you know, there's a point where I may not have gotten my degree, but with that degree, it just teaches you so much about interactions with people, working in a company with so many different people and so many projects, you know, it gives you that extra step up, so.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. It really gives you that sense of accomplishment. And there are many times throughout my career where I'm working on a project that's just excruciatingly difficult. I don't know if I can finish it. I don't know if I can do it. And I think back to school, and school was really tough. Changed my major a bunch of times. It was really hard, but I felt so great and so proud that I finished it and had that degree. And I look back at that time when I hit those situations again, like, it's just like school. I know I can do it. I can finish it. And I think that characteristic of being able to finish something that's really difficult will stay with you for the rest of your life, because having that determination and knowing you can do it will really carry through and help you with your success.
Hi, I'm a guest also. I'm Michelle de Guzman, and I'm with the Real Army of Moms. And my question is for all of you. Napoleon Hill, the great studier of entrepreneurism, said one time that failure prepares you for success. So we talked about fear before, that fear of failing. Can each of you share a failure that helped you prepare for another success in your life?
I think my biggest failure, so-called failure, is you know, my parents and my brothers and everyone was married. They're college and high school sweethearts, and they're still married with all of 3 children. I married the first guy who talked to me and had my daughter, and the marriage didn't work out. And I think being a single mom at a very early age, when all my friends were going clubbing and going out and having a wonderful life, I had such amazing fear that I may not be able to provide for my daughter. And that gave me a very good framework to work really hard and focus to dedicate myself. So if I didn't get married, I think about it almost all day, all the time, because I wish at times that I didn't get married, because it changed my life completely. But if I didn't get married, there would have never been Fremont College, and I would never been sitting here in front of you being able to talk about my experience, and my life would have been completely different. And I'm extremely grateful for that failure, because that failure really helped me to prepare to love more and have a compassion for all the students, and compassion for single mothers, and compassion for people who didn't have it. So it was a great thing for me.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Daryl Baskerville. I'm a business leadership major here at Fremont College. I've been here. I'll be out after 7 more classes. I'll be done. I have my degree. Thank you so much for having us here this evening. The reason I'm here, besides being a student here, I'm also an assistant to a public speaker. She's a female entrepreneur, so I'm that passionate. All the things that you've given me pieces to the puzzle here. Particularly Trina, you mentioned LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, great platform.
A great platform. Do you find yourself going from social media to social media? Do you stay with LinkedIn? And how significant is the internet to the growth of your business?
Well, for my business, social media is a tremendous asset because social media is a space that I'm in. So I'm building my brand on all the platforms because that's what I'm doing for my clients. So I use each platform a little bit differently. LinkedIn is a great place to build myself up professionally and to network. But I think you can leverage other platforms depending on what line of business you're going into. And Facebook can be a really great resource to interact with brands or to build your personal brand. Twitter is a great place to see real-time information and to interact with other brands. Basically, all of these platforms have public information out there where you can communicate with companies or businesses that you're looking that you would like to work for one day. Or like I said, if you find somebody very aspirational for you, you can follow them on social media and interact with them. So I think it can be a really great place to find opportunities that maybe you didn't know exist in your field or other fields you're interested in, and find key players or just people similar to you that you can interact with. So I think the world is very different these days. The internet has changed the job world completely. And when I was consulting in New York City, I used to live there for a long time, a while back, I actually got recruited for a job at Time Inc. because of my LinkedIn profile. I just had it updated with what I was working on, and Time Inc. came my way and said, hey, we'd like for you to come in and run our social media and help us build out some mobile apps. And I thought that was fantastic. So I'm like, why not? I get a job offer without even trying, just by being active on social media. So of course you can see how much I love it and how it's become my main business now. So.
Hi, my name is Maria Tanko. I'm a guest. I'm also an entrepreneur. My question is for Tony. I know you are a product-based business. In the very beginning, how did you get big box retailers to pay attention to you? What was your strategy? And yeah.
Keep on knocking till they open. That's the strategy. I mean, we didn't really get big box until about a couple of years ago. I mean, the biggest box was Target. And I figured this out because we would go to meetings and we'll go to Walgreens, and Walgreens will say, well, how much business do you do in CVS? I'll go to CVS, they say, well, how much business do you do in Walgreens? I'm like, I'm not in Walgreens, I'm not in CVS, then how am I, so that I'm never going to open this account, right? But you don't give up there. So what I did was I started opening smaller accounts, smaller retailers. There are a lot of beauty supply stores that has 1 door, 2 doors. And then there was Ulta. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ulta. So Ulta has about 550 stores, and they're considered smaller size retailer compared to Target or like the Walgreens. And we started very small. I think they gave us 2 feet of space at Ulta, but we dedicated everything and we did really well. And then the next year they gave us 3 feet, and then that went to 5 feet, that went to 8 feet. So once you start growing and over time, and this was over about 4 or 5 year period, then Target started to notice us and they gave us 1 chance. And once Target wanted NYX Cosmetics, then everybody wanted NYX Cosmetics. And that's why you start small. Don't, you dream big, but you start small, and then you just work each day, day by day, and you work hard at it, and at one moment, everything just falls in all naturally. It will all happen naturally. So don't get too anxious. Just focus on what you do day by day. Sure.
On that, just tagging along with what Tony was saying, that one of the person, actually journalist, asked the mountaineer, how do you climb Everest? And he said, 1 step at a time, right? So if you look at the top of the Everest, it's very difficult to get up there because you only look at the top. But if you take one little small step at a time, then you can get there. And I think your schooling is kind of the same thing. Starting and getting to the Everest is probably the most difficult thing. So now you're in the mountain, do not give up, because you just have to take one step at a time.
Hi. Oh. Hi, my name's Olivia and I'm a guest. I just have a question about female leadership. I currently work for a female entrepreneur, and I just wanted to know, how has female leadership impacted or affected your business?
I think it's incredibly empowering because what happens is you want to work with other females, and so in our case, you know, a lot of the positions that, you know, we hired for were really women, and they were exceptional, and they're still there today. And I think women need to empower other women, and you know, through, you know, all of our experiences, I think, you know, we're sort of paving the pathway for that. And I think that's the most inspiring for me, is being able to inspire a little bit more, you know, that women actually can do it. You know, women, I have numerous friends who are starting businesses, and they're doing wonderfully. They empower each other, they encourage each other. So
I'm gonna go opposite on that one.
Okay.
This is the best country in the world. We're in America. If you want to be in business, business has one color, that's green. Doesn't look at any other colors. It doesn't look at the gender, it doesn't look at the age. You just have to be damn good at what you do. And you have to work really hard at it. I'm a woman. I never think of it that I'm a woman. I started as a college president when I was in my 20s, and all my colleagues were 50, 60-year-old white male. So when I was 30 years old, I was actually received an award from California Senate as a Woman of the Year award. So I went in and spoke in front of everyone that I started, you know, when I first started, everyone was like my parents' age, but you took me as my colleagues, and I really appreciate it. And one of the other college presidents raised his hand, and he said, "Sabrina, we're still your parents' age." This is a really great country. So you shouldn't think about women being a woman as disadvantage, because there's absolutely no disadvantage. There's no disadvantage. The only disadvantage is your disability to move forward. It's your mind is the only disability we have in this country. And there's so many opportunities here. You know, Tony and I, Mira, I don't know if you're born here, but we're immigrants. We came here with zero, nothing. Didn't even speak English. I came here when I was 18 years old, and I was in college, and my dream was to be able to order Winchell's Donuts by name. But you know, that was like my goal in life, to be able to order 12 dozens without thinking about how much it's gonna be, and be able to speak all the names of the donuts. But you know, now I can talk to you in English. You know, I couldn't imagine talking to Americans. Because nobody really treated me like a real person, not being able to speak English. So don't think of women entrepreneurship as a disability, or we need to be segregated, because American business system is so transparent and so fair to everybody, and you gotta believe that. If you go to any other country in the world, you'll see, if you're a foreigner there and you were not born in that country, they will not treat you right. In this country, I think we are being treated very, very fairly. Just there'll be small ups and downs, but pretty much equally and pretty much fairly. So just believe that the opportunity, no matter who you are, is gonna be given to you. You gotta believe that.
Hi, my name is Alfie, and I'm a multimedia design student. My question is, have you made any adjustments to your personal and professional life to juggle these two roles?
I could answer that because I have made decision at one point. I knew. So I'm 41 and I just got married earlier this year. So I got married very late, right? But that was my decision. When I was in my early 30s, I was engaged, but I decided that I was not going to get married and I was not going to have children until later because I wanted to dedicate myself 100% to the company. So that was the lifestyle change that I had made.
I can say something similar to that. Building my career in New York City, I was single as well, and I only focused on work, just work all the time. Didn't really care about that other aspect of relationship or social because I was so passionate about building my career, building my personal brand, and I actually left New York and moved to LA 3 years ago, and happily in a relationship now, and I dedicate much more time equally to both, and I think you can find a nice balance if it's what you want. If you just stay determined, again, you know, what are you passionate about? And that shifted for me, and now I spend time doing both, and you can do both. Just like everybody here is going to work and coming to school, you can find the time you can do it if you're dedicated and passionate about it, so.
I'm a mom, and so I had to juggle, you know, being a mother of 2 children and then working at, you know, a company, and it's completely is time management. It's really being able to, you know, decide, you know what, yes, it's tiring. It's really tiring to have 2 kids and having to run a business, but just continue moving forward and, you know, just managing, you know, the time and being energized. And I think that's really always key for me. Yeah.
I think it's a juggling act. And each person has different ability to juggle different balls. And God gave us 3 very important balls to juggle, but He has a sense of humor and gave us ability to juggle 2 balls. So think about it. We have all what we want in life, right? It's a great family, like a great relationship with your spouse. That takes time and effort. Great career takes time and effort. And great children, or yourself, time for yourself. So you have 3-4 balls all the time that you want to juggle, but think of it as you can juggle 2 at a time really well. If you try to do 3, it becomes more difficult. To 4 becomes impossible. So you can have it all, just not all at the same time. So if you look at these women, and including myself, and someone had asked me about failure, and I said my failure in marriage was the best blessing because I kind of dropped that ball. I didn't drop it, but it got dropped. And because of that, I was able to get my career as my ball. And I was able to juggle it really well. And I think you can have it all in your lifetime. Just do not punish yourself. You can't have it all at the same time. Just love yourself.
Hello, my name is Jeremy. I'm studying the sports therapy program. And it sounds like all your companies or your business started off with an idea. So how did you go by or taking those steps to turning that idea to your brand or getting it patented where it was yours, where no one else can take it or your, you know?
Well, so I wanted to start a cosmetic company. My idea was I would go to a department store and see a really expensive high-end cosmetics. They were too expensive for me to buy. So I would go to a drugstore and see products that I could actually afford, but they weren't really, you know, that great in quality. So my idea was to build a brand that was great in quality and both affordable. Now, what you have to do is first, whatever you do, you need to trademark it, number 1. And then you have to trademark it with U.S. Trademark Office first, and you could do this through LegalZoom.com actually. Yeah, and I have trademarked a couple of names through LegalZoom.com, and you know, it's, you know, it costs a little bit of money, but it's well worth it to protect your asset because your trademark is your biggest asset. So you are in sports therapy, right? So one day you may go into a spa business, or you may go into a specialty service business where you hire people to give sports therapy on, your clients, then you would have a name for your business, right? You need to trademark that name because that's going to be the most valuable asset to your business going forward.
When you trademark it, also, if you have a name that you thought about, always get domain names. It's really important, and people don't think about it. So go to GoDaddy, open an account at $12.99 a year, but if you trademark the name but didn't buy the domain name and someone else got it, then your trademark doesn't matter because you can't go and claim that domain name.
I think that's the most challenging thing these days is all the domains are gone. So you have this great idea and you're like, oh no, like I want a magenta.com. Yeah, right. That was gone for years. So I settled on Magenta Agency, which ended up being great because it explains more what my business is. But they are opening up new domains, new top-level domains that you'll be able to secure soon. Probably more expensive than we can get today, but that is the number one thing. Like you want to make sure that your trademark and your domain, if they're not the same, do they work together and do they exist?
And one, I think, other thing with the domain names is .com is still a very, very important domain.
Yeah.
So if someone else, like if your sports therapy studio is what you want, and someone else already has a sports therapy studio, if it's not used, but that .com is gone, and you want to get .net or .org, don't do it. Because that person who has .com will go on top of the Google when he starts using it.
Yeah, .com is still the leader in the space if you have a for-profit business.
And someone will always be in your space. You're in the sports therapy business. There's going to be numerous people that are going to start businesses similar to yours. We were the first to start a shoe subscription type business, and soon after, there were people that started a very similar business. But just always know that even though there'll always be someone that copies your business or really is side by side with you, that'll only make you stronger and help you be more creative, and it'll transform everything for you. So it's actually, it's not a bad thing to have other businesses that are very similar to yours, but you just kind of feed off of each other and you end up helping each other. But at the end of the day, the people that really move forward and come up with more intriguing ideas is people that will stand. So I encourage that.
Hello, my name is Dahabu. I think I'll take the last question, right? Are we with time? I have a comment and a question. My comment is kind of piggybacking on what Dr. K said about fear. I think what everyone does up here and what you're training to do or what you're getting educated in are fields help change lives. So when you know that you're helping change someone's lives and you believe in that and you know that, the fear is gone because you're walking in that and you're standing in that. Has anyone testimonies from any of your clients that really just touch your heart? That's my question.
Thank you. We were actually chatting in the conference room before we came here. Every graduation is a reason why I'm here. Some people cry in weddings and some people cry in funerals. I cry in our graduation every single time because our graduates are our inspiration. Every single story that you bring to the table at Fremont College, and what a privilege for me to be part of your life. It is such an incredible blessing. And somebody asked me at one time, if you win a lotto and you have all the money in the world, what would you do? I said, I would still work at Fremont College. And I sincerely mean it because when I was really young, I sold my first company. Like Tony, I was very lucky. I sold my first company, which was a fashion company. I did win the lotto. And I went back to school because I wanted to be part of someone else's journey. And being in Fremont College, I see very different colors and very different stories of each student. And I can be part of your life somehow, although I'm not here every day with you, but I know your stories. And I feel very honored and privileged to be here.
And I can speak to that a little bit. I think that's one of the areas where Dr. K and I bonded is an education topic, and I teach at General Assembly, which is a global organization. It's not as involved as the program here, but I do teach students digital marketing, and many of them come to my classes and my courses looking to make a drastic career shift. They aren't happy or satisfied in what they're doing, and they're looking to change what they're doing, and it's such a delight to bring those students from the first day to the end of the 10-week course and help them get new positions and see that there's new opportunities and train them with a whole new set of skills. And it's overwhelming when you hear the testimonials and you see what they've gone through and watch them grow, and you're helping them make a change for the better in an area that they are passionate and want to be. And I think that's what really drives me, is that I have all this experience doing what I do every day, and then I can help other people to share that experience and grow and learn it as well.
I'm gonna give a little plug that Trina and I are working on her possibly teaching here as well, so thank you.
I would love to.
So I feel very fulfilled because, you know, when we created ShoeDazzle, it was really sort of based upon me. You know, growing up, you know, you don't have to feel beautiful to have a lot of money. You know, I didn't have that option because, you know, you didn't have, you know, a site where it, you know, it catered to who you were. And, you know, just knowing that the people that come to our site, and it makes you feel really pampered. To give you a little background, what it does is it, based upon your personality profile, it makes you feel like you're going to a boutique. And I never really had that growing up. And so knowing that women feel beautiful, knowing that women, you know, feel great at the end of the day was really, truly, you know, that's what made me really happy and fulfilled. Mm-hmm.
Well, and as for me, I always say the business that I'm in, the product that I sell is cosmetics, but then the byproduct and then the real product that we sell is happiness, because we women, you know how we live when we wake up in the morning, right? And some days, like, you can't even look at yourself in the mirror. But you take shower, do your hair, you know, put on a little lip gloss, put on a little mascara, a little blush, and your entire mood changed. Don't you stand taller? Isn't your shoulder back more, right? So that's what it means by happiness. And when you feel confident, you're happy. And when you're happy, you smile a little more. You may say thank you to one more person. And that's a domino effect on society. And that's what, you know, just think about it. You're walking on the street and somebody passed by and they say, hi. Doesn't that just brighten up your day, right? So that's the reason I'm in the cosmetic business, and I just recently sold my business, so I am locked out of the industry for 5 years. But come that day when my non-compete is over, I am for sure gonna go into the same business again, because that's where my happiness is. Thank you.
So I want to go back to our attitude. You know, when we look at blogs and Yelp reviews and stuff, you know, what we see most is negative reviews, right? Because you don't have to reveal who you are. But let's change that. If you change that and you just only review what you like and what you're positive about, your attitude and your whole life will change. So think about it. Think about your positive experience here, and you talk about it, and you talk about your positive experience of life and how that changes your life. So starting today, starting right now, if you had any complaint about life, get rid of that and change your life, because that life will change on you.
Okay, so just to say that it's people that surrounds you are the most valuable asset in your life, in your personal life, and I realize that when I'm around negative people, I become negative myself. So you have to realize who the people that's around you, and you have to say to yourself, and you have to remind yourself every day that you want to be a positive, outgoing person. And I know, and everybody knows that it's not easy to, there are days where you are not as happy or perky, but even those days, just look in the mirror and just tell yourself, I'm going to be happy today. And that just has so much effect on your life, and it's all in your mind, how your future is going to be, and it starts with today. So thank you guys for being here.
I would agree 100%. Positivity breeds positivity. It's so easy to just complain, and I think there's so much negativity around, especially on social media sites and just online. People can just go and vent what they're frustrated about, and it takes more effort to be positive and to give someone a compliment. Think about the last time you gave someone a compliment. They're often surprised, right? And they don't even know how to react. I think if we can try to be more positive and breed more positivity and surround yourself with positive people, I think it can be infectious in a very positive way. Thank you for having me.
I agree with both of them. Really, I feel like the last one standing is the one that is really the positive one. Everyone wants to be surrounded with people that, makes them feel good. And there's so much negativity, but it starts with that one person that keeps it going and keeps it positive. And so I encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing. Be a positive motivator for your friends and your classmates, and help each other, get to that end, get to that degree, get to graduation. And it's really important to also share with your friends and people that aren't even here how important it is to come to school and to do what you're doing. It's all about sharing the word and encouraging all your friends and even people that you don't really know, so thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you very much, everyone.